Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be inking this character here and inking him in layers since I'm going to be using him for animation. So we'll do a layer for the arms, we'll do a layer for the upper body, and then one layer for the legs and feet, as I don't need the whole guy to move. Or maybe that'll change as we're working on the image, we'll see. But as of right now, we're just going to do a few layers. And then we're going to move this head that I've drawn, reduce it in size and bring it up on here, and then assemble the whole character together. So right now I'm working in Krita, and this is my go-to program for drawing. I've been using it for probably, well, I don't know, just over a year now, and it has been absolutely fantastic. So let's get started here. So I'm going to go over to this palette, and I only use a few brushes in Krita. I have my favorites, and this particular one is a stock brush, and it is the one that I use the absolute most. So it has excellent pressure sensitivity. As you can see, it's very responsive, and I should also point out that I'm working on a WACOM, or a WACOM as some people call them, Cintiq Pro. This is the 16-inch version, and it is an amazing tool in its own right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work on this sleeve here, and I'm going to combine the sleeve and the arm together. Again, I don't need them to be separated. And when I'm drawing in here, I actually extend my lines well past where I need them, so I know that they're going to be joining up properly where I need them to be, and it doesn't take anything at all to erase the excess off. So I'll just do that real quick, and there we go. And it also keeps it loose, keeps a very hand-drawn style to the artwork. Quick to tidy up, no eraser bits mess. There we go. So that's the sleeve there. And we got his elbow in here. I kind of like this little styling for his elbow. So keep that line, fill in the shadow of the sleeve. This kind of just gives it a little bit of depth as well. And we're going to do his forearm. And I don't mind crossing this line over like this because it can tend to look like a muscle or a tendon. And even though he is a cartoon, I find it important to add a few of those details in. So there we go. In the hand, I'm not going to be too worried about making it perfect, but I do want to extend that knuckle out a little bit. So I'm going to bring it out here. I think I'm going to start the knuckle up here like this. Get that finger in. I don't like the way that ended up. And for me, switching over to digital was probably the best thing I've done for my personal taste in art and working. It certainly saves on materials, as I don't have to buy paints and canvases and replace pens for inking all the time. I don't wear out paper with erasing. Revisions for clients aren't a big deal anymore. So there we go. It's just kind of, I want to carry this knuckle over there like that. Maybe put a bump to indicate the second one slightly. And my canvas rotation here is one of the key shortcuts, or shortcut keys, I guess. And it is 5 and 6 on my keyboard that I'm using to rotate the canvas. There we go there. I want to kind of make a nice sharp point for that fold in the hand. All right, so that's that arm done. Put another little indication of a knuckle there. If you want, you can drop in a fingernail. But it doesn't really need to be. But I am going to finish this finger off here. Let's make it a little more bulbous at the end. I like exaggerating certain features when I'm cartooning. It definitely adds for a more dynamic drawing, a lot more interest, can make them a little funnier. So there we go. I'm going to put a couple of the folds in here for the clothing, or for his shirt rather. Just a couple little zips like that, and then we go over here and I'm going to layer this, or label this layer arm. Alright, so then we start a new layer, and then I'll work on the body. So his head is kind of hunched a bit down, so I want to bring his back up, over exaggerate the back like that, and then I'm gonna actually finish off the body itself, even though it's blocked off by a part of the arm. Still like to finish them in case in the animation that arm I decide it needs to move. I have a full image underneath it. Again, extend the lines over where we need them. Erase what we don't need. And then fix this fold here, because this fold wouldn't be going up. If he's bent over, it would be coming down. Like that there. This is kind of a morning wake up time for this guy, so we make him a little disheveled, not quite together. That there. Bring in another crease, just a couple more. Those can also help add a little bit of movement to the illustration. So we are going to connect this here, like so. Clean up this line a little bit. Again, I know you're not going to see it, but just in case. So now we can see how the two of them look together. It's looking good. And now we're on to the legs. So again, start with another layer. First, label the previous one we just drew, upper body, like that. And now let's label this one so we don't forget. Legs. All right. So again, this guy's just waking up. So he's kind of got his morning attire, track pants, pajama bottoms, whatever you want. Make a little bit saggy in the butt, like so. That line doesn't work. There we go. Just like that. And now, see, I can extend this if I wanted to make the upper leg a separate layer from the lower leg, in case I want to put a bit of a bend into him. So I think that is actually what I'm going to do. And not a lot of this is written in stone at this point. In fact, at no point of the work is it really ever written in stone. Make changes on the fly all the time, especially when it's your own project. So exactly what we'll do. So this will be the upper legs. Let's change that layer name to upper. Now we'll do the lower. And I'm not too worried about the stacking order at this point, because that can very well change. And again, I want to complete the leg. If there is any bending going on, I don't want it to expose any weirdness. So we'll make sure the leg is complete. Right there, just like that. Another wrinkle in. And I think we're good to go there. Actually, what I might do here, looking at the old line, I don't mind that, but I think I gotta blend it in a little better. Oh, just want to catch this faint line here. There we go. So we get rid of this one. Go over to the loop tool and get rid of it a little more efficiently. So we'll take it from about here, bring this around, and delete that. Get rid of the lasso, rotate the canvas, and complete this line here. So there we go. Oops. Revert back to the brush so I can get my eraser. And that'll be that. So what we can do also is, depending on the stacking order, so I am going to keep the lower leg below the upper. So this line on the lower leg is okay, but this one here for the upper is not going to work. So what I'm going to do, switch over to the upper leg, and I'm just going to take out a section of it. Just like that. Some of it might come in handy as being like a crease as he bends his leg. Perfect. Here we go. Now, as part of the lower leg, I'm going to include this foot. And just like with the yoga girl, since I don't want to draw the toes, I can just say that he's got socks on or something. Like that, and we can put a little squiggly line for socks. Maybe put a hole in it or something like this here. There we go. Works for me. Okay. So let's take a look here. Now, the upper half is a little bit bigger, but that's not a problem, and this is why I like working digitally. Because if something does look completely out of whack, or maybe even just a little bit, it's much easier to manipulate. Just like that there. Let's get rid of the arms so we can get a good idea. Maybe bringing that down a little more. You can play around with proportion much easier in the digital format, and that's one of the reasons I really like it. One of the many reasons I really like it. So that's not bad. I think I'm going to move his arm back a little bit, just like that. Perfect. I think that's all I need from there. So now we'll go back to the sketch layer and bring the head up into position. So we're going to have him kind of like that. But again, now all I got to do is reduce it in scale till it's where I want it to be, till it looks good. I think that's pretty close right there. Yep, I'm liking that. Hit enter and we get that set up. And for this, I'm going to get rid of the other layers. And I'm going to create a new layer. Oh, I forgot to label this one. This is lower leg. There we go. And this will be head. So, just like in all the others, we got our favorite pen. Set it to a decent size. And start drawing. There. And I love how responsive the WACOM is for its pen. I haven't really tried any of the other tablets. I started off with a WACOM Intuos, which is the one that you don't see the screen on the tablet, and it took some getting used to, but it was a fantastic tool as well. In fact, I still have it down in my basement. Not quite ready to give it up yet. So let's finish off the hair for this guy. And I like some of these sketchy wisps, like very nice happy accidents here. Finish those off. This one here, and again, he just kind of woke up, so we're gonna give him a bit of mess to the hair. Couple cowlicks. That, and bring the hair around. That's looking good, like I want it. Get into the forehead. And again, I'm going to overextend these lines here. The only one I'm not sure of that I want to continue is if I want to go the red line or if I want to go the original sketch line. But again, it's not going to be a big deal to work on both. So, that's not how it went. It's better. There, zoom in a bit, kind of round off the tip a little more. And get my eraser. So we've either got that, I think that kind of looks better actually, so I'm going to keep it. So then we'll bring the drawing back upright, do some of the eyes. And when we get into a little bit of the face detail, that's when I kind of bring the brush sizes down even more, because the finer lines work much better. Let's give him some nice relaxed eyes. He's like he's breathed a sigh of relief here, which when this is all done, you'll see why. When the animation's done, I mean. So there we go. Let's put in his eye. And we'll finish off his eyebrow. Just like that. Put a little marks on his forehead to really accentuate the emotion. There we go. And we'll get this crease in the back of the mouth and make it a little bit of a shadow. There we go. That's working out perfectly. I'm going to give him a Shaggy from Scooby-Doo kind of beard where he's got a few lines, which to me always indicated more of a goatee, and a weak one at that. So we'll just go with it here. There, we got our guy. And now we can get rid of the sketch layer and kind of see what he looks like. And I think that's working out well. I'll put a few little texture marks on him, like so. Like that. Now the one thing I'm looking at right now is this eye. And as I said, nothing is written in stone at any of these stages, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm going to eliminate everything except this eye. So I'm going to get my selector tool, my lasso selector, and I'm going to invert the selection and delete it. And I'm going to call this eye open. So now what I'm going to do is create another layer and have an eye closed, and that'll create the blink in the final animation. So what I'm going to do, so I know the position of the eye, is I'm going to drop the opacity down on the head, go to the layer I just created, label it eye closed, and I'm going to redraw over the bottom portion of this eye, except close it, just like that. Bring the crinkle down. There we go. So then we'll have eye open and eye closed. And I could go back to the head layer, bring the opacity back up, select just the eye, and delete it. So now you can kind of get a bit of an animation here. There we go. Kind of see how that's going to look. I think that works very well. So I'm going to go back to the head layer, which I'm still on, and I'm going to finish off some of it here. Maybe finish off the neck a little bit. Again, you're not going to see this, but in case I want to animate it, I'll have enough image behind the other layers that it won't look wonky if I decide to move it a little bit. Put a little head bob in or something like that. 2, and eliminate that. So there. Put a couple of lines in. Drop another shadow there. All right, so let's see how it looks all together. So we've got the head. Let's do eye open. Got the arm, upper body, and the legs. That's it. It's looking really good. One thing I think I'm going to have to match the line weight though of the head to the body here because it went a little bit lighter. Kind of looks a little bit out of place. So it's no big deal. I'm going to bump up my pen size. So 18. Go back to the head layer. Give my canvas a spin. And just thicken it up a little bit. Just to match the body there. That's better. And I don't have to do it all over. Just in some select areas here. Like that thickness actually ends up being more of a shadow. And on the nose as well, it can start off thinner but go a little bit thicker down here because that can be viewed as a shadow as well. Maybe a little bit too much. There we go. It's better. Up. Definitely put more weight on the forehead line. It's already looking a whole lot better. I don't want to thicken up all of the hairlines. I like some of them thinner. But I do have to make it a little more consistent. So this one here. Go to these little wispies at the back. And again, I want this to come into more of a point. So use the eraser to do that. And there. That makes it a lot more uniform. The ear looks good. I'm happy with that. So we're going to keep that. So that's this guy finished as far as just basic line art goes. So next we'll be on to coloring, and that'll be in the next video. Thanks for watching.